Okay, I'm back. I had to take my son to a dental appointment, drop him off anyway, so now I'm back. And before I left, I was looking at solving some errors. I was skipping this, didn't even look at this. I don't know what this is at this point. Actually, this was the error I think I was dealing with. Yeah, I think this was part of the error I was dealing with. And bottom line is, this is what I was exactly dealing with here. So, I have an error with the equality operator in game object list header file line 10. So this is game object list header file, and on line 10, I'm just including the game object header file. And so in game object list.cpp file, line 7, again, I'm referencing the line 7, I'm referencing the game object list header file. So the issue I'm having though is in the game object header file on line 11. I'm overriding the equality operator. And in that, I take in two game objects by reference, indicated by the ampersand here. Not by constant reference, just by reference. And that's causing me some issue. And the reason being, I remember before I left, I started to look into it, and I think I'm not sure if I shut off the video, but basically I started looking at these a little closer. All these errors are associated with the same thing. So this equality operator, these are all associated with the error. And bottom line is this word const that's showing up here, the qualifier const. I think it kind of mentions it up here if you pause the video. The remove method here. So on line 47 in game object list in the CPP file, I know I'm kind of all over the place here. Where's the CPP file? So on line 47, I have this remove method. I'm implementing the remove method in the game object list that takes in a game object as its parameter. And what it does is I want to erase the game object ultimately, because remove, I'm using the erase method, but I'm relying on the remove method associated with let me just make this bigger, associated with the algorithm library. So I've included the algorithm library up here on line 5, and I'm using the remove algorithm or method, whatever you want to call it, to do that, which takes in, an iterator. I'm iterating from the beginning of the list to the end of the list, the game object list that this is attached to. So I'm iterating. So I'm using dereferencing the pointer, which is associated with this game object list that this method is being called on. I'm iterating from the beginning of the list to the end of the list and comparing every item in the list with the object value, with the value of the game object that got passed in. And if I come across it, I'm going to remove it. And I'm going to do this all the way till the end of the list. So behind the scenes, this method, this remove method, uses the equality operator, the equal operator, but it expects constant references for efficiency purposes, obviously. So it's using constant references. And that being said, because I'm using in my method or in my game object, when I overwrite the equality operator, I take in game objects by just reference, but not constant reference. So basically the way to fix this is I just need to, because I can't change the remove algorithms implementation of the equality operator, the overloading of the equality operator. So I'll change mine. By putting those const, I shouldn't change anything else in the code. I do have to change it here and here, however. But by putting the const qualifier here for these game object list, it should get rid of a lot of these errors. So I think some of these errors are associated with that because, again, you can see stood remove if where's remove? Yeah, it overloads the where am I? Yeah. Where's remove? Yeah, so this is the remove method right here. And here, as you can see, it's saying that it's a near match because it's close. I need constant qualifiers. And it's saying that the operand types are game object and constant game object. Again, there's not a match. The error is there's no match because the operand types are game object and constant game object. Remove is expecting constant game object, and I had overloaded my operator without constant. So by making this change, that should get rid of a lot of these errors associated with operator, the quality operator, because again, this is expecting a constant and I wasn't giving it. So let's see if we can get rid of some of those errors. Again, code shouldn't take this long to compile, so it's, I've still got lots of errors to fix, but we're taking them down one at a time. Okay. So we do have a lot less errors, so we did get rid of a lot of those errors. Big errors that we still got to tackle here, which I'll do after, is the errors for the serializing, so I can save my game state and then reload it. The error is only with save game at this point, but obviously there'd be a loading error as well, presumably. So I'll probably end the video here in a second, just so I can. The error we just solved was the remove method associated with in the algorithms library had, for its equality operator, it had an equality operator that expected constant objects, and I overloaded the equality operator in my game object class that expected just the references, game objects passed in by reference. So I had to add the access modifiers, the constant access modifiers, both in the header file and the implementation file, and that solved the issue. In the next, I'll come right back in another video. I just find if these videos go long, they shut down unexpectedly. I have an old computer. But in the next video, we'll come back, and I think what we'll do is we'll try to solve this issue. This obviously seems to be all the same issue. Let's just read it and see what it is. Redefinition of stood string location, describe location, return toString items. Redefinition. Okay, so in my implementation file, it says I'm redefining it. So I've got it in my header file. You know what? Let's just do that now. That seems like a quick fix. I've obviously just included it both in my header file and my implementation file. So let's pull up the header file and the implementation file and see if that's the case. So I'm in the header file right now, and it's describe location. Okay, so yeah, in the header file, I've actually implemented code. And obviously in the implementation file, I've implemented code. So I've done it twice. So that should be an easy fix. I'm just going to comment this out for now. I know I just need to delete it, but I'm just going to comment it out and make that a definition. I'm only commenting it out in case some error happens, so I just want to be able to bring that back. But right now, I've just now declared, by putting the semicolon here, I'm just declaring these methods of the describe location method and the toString method in the header file. And in the CPP file, the implementation file, I've actually implemented the describe location method and toString method. So that should actually solve these errors. Let's see if that's the case. Actually, we won't even bother clearing the screen. We'll just see. These errors should hopefully go away, because we're no longer redefining. Again, we've declared it only in the header file now, and now we've just defined it in the implementation file, whereas before I was defining it in both header and implementation file. So all these errors should be gone, hopefully, on 34, 37, 36, and 42. And hopefully, so there you go. So it looks like we're down to just these few errors. Mind you, this is probably a big error, so you know what, I'm going to go look at my phone and see if my son's dental appointment, how that's going. And I think I'll deal with this after. So I've got to go get him. And when I come back, we'll look at this. But basically, when we come back, it looks like we're going to be trying to solve. I've got an invalid cast from type location to a care pointer. But I know this is a serialization issue, because when I was looking into a month ago, I just kind of stopped for a second. I was having some issues like writing to the file using putting things as binary, but I don't think I was doing it quite right. So I need to do maybe some manual serialization. I was trying to do a lot at once, kind of like in Java, where you can just implement in the java.io.serializable interface. You can just implement. You can just have your classes implement serializable, and then that makes it really easy to save like game state and then reload game state. I was trying to do something similar to that with C++, and there wasn't like a direct translation as far as I was able to do. So I'll come back and I'll solve that serializable issue. But in this case, we were able to solve this redefinition thing, which again is I just defined describe location and toString methods in both the header file and the implementation file. So that was solved simply by just declaring it in the header file and defining it in the implementation file. And the other issue we solved, I already forget, but it was, oh yeah, I had overloaded the equality operator in my game object class, but when I overloaded it, I only took in 2 game objects by reference. But I needed to make them constant reference because I was then using the game object in a method that relied on the std remove method associated with the algorithm library, and that equality operator for that method uses constant references. So I had to change my overloaded equality operator in game object to match that because I was using that. So that's the issues we solved. And when we come back, we'll try to solve this whole, invalid cast thing, which it has to do with serializing and things like that. Yeah, let's do that.